Rashford pulls up for three. Boom! Knocks it down.
Curry from the corner at three. Puts it in.
For overtime, makes it. Garrett, right.
Welcome to the MVP cast from me, Mark Woods. Thank you so much as always for taking time out of your week to listen to the podcast. Don't forget you can get all our previous editions at the website at mvp247.com, or you can follow us on various social media. Just search for the MVP cast. Now, my guest this week is one of the high flyers of British basketball. I've been so keen to get him on the podcast for quite a while. The man can jump. He can jump right out of the gym. He is so big that he's finally found his way to being a Giant. He's at the Manchester Giants. He is Dirk Williams. Welcome to the MVP cast, Dirk.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Still in the UK. It's been a few years now. Does it? You know, Sheffield starting out, then you dipped away for a bit. You did a couple of years in London, now in Manchester. I mean, does this country feel like home now?
Yeah, it definitely does feel like home for me. I've been here for a while, as you said. Obviously, I've built a foundation for myself as well. I have my wife, I have my kids, so obviously I got my family out here as well. So yeah, I would definitely say that the UK is my home.
How important is it? I mean, your son's, I think, 3 now, is that right?
Yeah, he's 3 now, yeah.
How important is it for you to have them here? Because I think when he was younger, you spells apart, but how much does it mean and how much does it help you as a player, as a dad, to have the family relatively close by?
Yeah, I think it's great for me, honestly, because I'm a family man. I like to be around my family. Obviously, I get to be around my son and watch him grow up because, especially at these years now, it's early. They're trying to learn, they're absorbing a lot of stuff. So I feel like I can teach them a lot of stuff at this age. So I'm glad I get to be close and be around them because I know I won't be able to get those years back, if that makes sense.
But you're playing Manchester. They're living in Sheffield. Yeah. I mean, is that a sign of the affection you had for the Sharks in Sheffield when it was your first professional gig?
Yeah, I mean, obviously when I met my wife, my first year, we wanted to build something. I thought Sheffield could be somewhere I could build a foundation. But, at the end of the day, it's a business and, we have to move on. So, for me, I like Sheffield as a city. So I've always, loved to be out there with my family and stuff like that.
And, he's 3, but is he already taking those steps and following in daddy's footsteps as a bowler?
Yeah, he loves it. Actually, I haven't even taught him how to shoot. He has a really good jump shot naturally already. So I think it's going to be pretty awesome to see how he grows and see how good he can be when he gets older.
Because you've got one of your teammates coaching him at times, don't you?
Yeah, my teammate Nick Lewis. He has his foundation going on called Make It Work Global. I think he's doing a really good job with the things that he's doing there. He's doing all types of age groups, from like 3 years old, and Dirk's 3, and he's getting exposed to that stuff at such an early age. And I commend Nick because he's doing a great job with it. With
your journey. I mean, you're an Alabama native, and you're from the city of Birmingham, as everyone calls it, the other Birmingham. And it's one of my favourite US cities for a reason. It has, in my opinion, one of the best, and I'm not underselling this, one of the best museums in the world in its Civil Rights Institute. And for anyone who would never think about going to Birmingham, Alabama, because it's a little off the beaten track if you're looking at the big places to go and visit the US, it is worth the journey. Because it has the Rosa Parks bench, and if you don't know who Rosa Parks is, Google it, because she's a vital, important figure in the sort of fight for equality and civil rights in the US. And I remember the place that I learned so much, and I came away much more educated about what had gone on in the States. And as a child of the South, we have this sort of image, of that division and the issues and the issues that continue today. What was it like for you growing up in a place that, for a lot of people was one of the centers of the civil rights movement?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, for the most part, it was normal. I mean, you still get the normal segregation, where certain races live with certain races in certain areas and stuff like that. But for the most part, everything was normal. Obviously, you have times where you get those type of acts of racism and stuff like that. But for the most part, it was normal. I think growing up, we learned how to maintain it and get through it.
Did it help knowing that? Because you've got this history in your doorstep, and history educates us. I mean, I guess you can't escape that history, but that's, I suppose, a knowledge that people take with them and that probably learn from a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff that life throws at you that's definitely that's learning curves for you. I think being in Birmingham, it taught me a lot. I lived there till I was about 16 years old, so obviously I had a lot of ups and downs, ebbs and flows. So I feel like I did learn a lot there growing up.
What was the place for you as a childhood? You've talked about in the past, that our basketball kind of kept you on the straight and narrow, as we would say, on the right path. What for you was floating around this right path?
Yeah, obviously, the basketball it definitely kept me on the right track. It was just something that kept me focused. My mom was always on me about, the distractions off the court, because I was in such a bad area. So there's a lot of stuff going on there. So I think it was just basketball was just something that kept me going. I think the only problem that I maybe had was just trying to focus on the academics. I just always thought basketball. I just kind of just knew in my mind that I was going to be playing basketball in my life somewhere down the line.
How much of that was your dad Dirk as well, and your mom? Those we like to say nagging, nipping at your ear to remind you about the grades.
Yeah, especially my mom. She was always on me about it. She used to beg me sometimes and stuff like that. So once I finally buckled down and locked in on it, it actually wasn't as hard as I kind of made it seem. Or all I just had to do is just focus in, and I could do it. When you put your mind to something, you can do anything.
What was the light bulb moment for you? Because as kids, you kind of you go along and you don't think about it, and you kind of sometimes go, yeah. When grown ups are saying something, was there a moment for you when you thought, right, if I don't do this, basketball's in danger?
Yeah, I would have to say when I was going into my senior year of high school, I got ruled ineligible, like in the middle of the season because of my academics. So, because of that happening, I was verbally committed to Virginia Tech. I was supposed to go there right out of high school. I kind of had to detour that because of that situation, and I had to go to junior college. And I ended up going to junior college, and I think that was the moment right there where I'm like, if I don't buckle down now, I may not have a chance because, JUCO, you have 2 years to get your stuff together so that you can go to a Division I or a bigger school or any type of school that you want to play sports for a scholarship. So I think that was just my moment where I needed to buckle down on the academics so that I could get through, and it's got me to where I'm at today.
Did you regret that? Because every time I'm speaking to you, you always come across as a smart guy, and a guy that would be at a good school and if you weren't good at basketball, you'd be at a good school doing a good degree. Did you miss out on something by not taking that opportunity at the age of 16, 17 that you maybe had to play catch up? I don't know.
I've always told my friends, that I wish I could have went all 4 years of Division I. Obviously in JUCO you don't get the luxuries and the incentives and stuff that you get in Division I. So, and even just the development style of coaching and stuff like that you have in Division I. I was kind of late to it because I went to junior college first.
Do you have to fight harder then to get noticed, or maybe even not get noticed, but because coaches are always looking, but to kind of gain that confidence in a coach or an AD or a recruitment coach that you are the kind of player that will work hard on the court as well as off the court?
Yeah, I wouldn't actually say that it was harder to get D1 coaches to look at me in JUCO because junior college, is very competitive, and there's a lot of really good players that go there. a lot of them go there for the same reason that I was currently in, as far as academics. So, and you got players that are just transferring, they don't have a division. So some guys go from Division 1 to JUCO for like a year and stuff like that. So it's really good competition there. Obviously, you have some teammates that are bringing in schools, and that gives you opportunities to get some schools to look at you as well. So I think the exposure is really good in JUCO. I think, there are a lot of, I think as time goes by and the years go on, there are a lot of opportunities for basketball, especially in the States.
You went back home, effectively work began to University of Alabama, Birmingham for your junior and senior years. And a lot of guys, when we go to uni, you kind of want to go away. You want to see the world a little bit. You came back. Was that just the best offer, or was there something in you thought, this is the place I want to be?
It actually wasn't the best offer. Obviously, I had a lot of big schools, but at that point in my life, I was coming from JUCO. And, when you leave JUCO after your second year, it's very important because you only got 2 years left. And, you got to think that some of those big schools, like the Dukes and Kentuckys, and, those type of schools like that, if they bring you in from JUCO and you go in as a junior, they're probably going to bring in a freshman as well. And, the freshmen are the ones that are more important than, juniors and seniors. Once you become a junior and senior, you aren't as important as like a freshman or a sophomore, because, you're almost on your way out.
The guy that you played with there is the guy you play with now, William Lee. What was the first impression?
Well, the first impression of William Lee, it was just he was a shot blocker. Before I got there, they called him the mayor of Blockingham. Like, he had his own name. He was the mayor of Blockingham. So, I was interested to see it. When I got there, he was amazing shot blocker, super athletic, can shoot the ball real well. I think so. It was definitely fun playing with William Lee.
What's it like now? I mean, you've come full circle, and here you are again on the, almost several years later, and you end up playing in the same team together. I mean, when you found this out last summer, what was the messaging going on to each other?
Yeah, we was very excited. I was excited when Vince, when he shot me the message saying that he wanted to see if William Lee would be interested in coming to Manchester. And, as soon as he said that, I messaged William Lee straight away. And I was actually surprised because he messaged me straight away because, there was that incident that happened in Leicester that was saying that he had retired. So, I didn't know what the situation was with that. So, I asked him, and he said he was ready straight away because we had been trying to team up for a while anyway.
Is that chemistry there? I mean, do you guys pick up exactly where you left off back in, 2017?
Yeah, of course. And, for us, it's even more better because, we're a lot more mature. We're a lot more older. We got a lot more, wisdom and knowledge towards the game. So I think, it's easy for us to communicate with each other, get on to each other when we're slacking and stuff like that. So, I'm really enjoying it.
Did you, when you're coming through, particularly in your senior year, when you started most of the games, and and the numbers were good enough that you're going to get a look somewhere, or there'll be an agent at least wants to pimp you out into to scouts or GMs. Did you sort of think about this a career plan? I don't know if it's some guys will go, I want to try and get in the G League, or some guys will go, I just want to play anywhere, or some guys will go, I want to try Europe. And what was your sort of plan when you were peering ahead at, whatever it was, age 20, 21, 22?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, around after college, it's everybody's dream to at least try and get a shot at the NBA and doing the little NBA training camps and workouts. But unfortunately for me, it wasn't. The opportunities wasn't there. But I met my agent over the summer, and he let me know that Europe was a good idea. So, I didn't mind it. I just love to play basketball. So I don't really care where I am or where I go. I'm just going to play, and I'm going to play to the best of my ability. So that's how I always see it. And, besides, I went to JUCO. I'm used to being away. I'm used to being away from my family and being on my own and stuff like that because that's kind of the type of life that I had to live because of basketball.
Had you been to Europe before then?
No, when I came to the Sharks, that was my first time leaving the country. I didn't know what to expect.
So was there a certain level of nervousness there, or was it excitement, or what was the
Yeah, I was
emotions when
super
you're looking up
nervous.
Sheffield on a map?
Yeah, I mean, I had never heard of Sheffield. I'm like, Sheffield? What is a Sheffield? Like, I had no idea. I was nervous about flying across water and stuff for that long amount of time. The first thing that tripped me out when I first got here was how everybody drive on the left side of the road and
Typical.
how the steering wheel was on the opposite side. I think that was and how cold it was.
Because you're a southern boy, it's year-round sunshine,
Yeah.
almost.
But, yeah, I need that heat.
I mean, how do you adjust? Yeah, I mean, obviously, there's always that thing about, teammates will support you, or, or Tebow would support you there. But, how long does it take to kind of get your head around this thing? It's not just, I know we speak English of a certain variety, especially in Sheffield, but how do you get your head around all these things? How long does it take?
Yeah, I mean, for me personally, I don't think it was that big of an adjustment coming here because you got people that speak English, so it was it's easy to communicate. I don't once I learned how to drive on the left side of the road, I think it's easy to get around out here as well. I think it would have been different if I had went somewhere like when I played in Hungary. If I had went somewhere like there first, which it may have gave me a different perspective on life out here and stuff like that because no one speaks English. When I was out there, I was always having to use Google Translator. Yeah, so I think yeah, being in UK, I think it was actually a good blessing for me. And it's showing. I'm playing. I'm happy. I like playing out here. I think I'm pretty respected by a lot of fans out here in the league.
I mean, your first season at Sharks, and you averaged 16 points a game, 5 rebounds. It was a really impressive kind of first campaign. It was always intriguing you when you come into the BBL. I mean, people talk about it as an American style league in the sense it's different to playing in a lot of places in mainland Europe in terms of the tactics and the coaching and the approach for it. But what was the biggest adjustment your game had to make to coming over here?
For me, especially at the Sharks, was just learning how to be more in attack mode. Because that's what most teams look out of me as a player. Like even when I was at the Sharks, I started off a bit slow. I wasn't really scoring and stuff like that, but I ended up having a meeting with Coach Atiba, and they was like, "Look, we didn't bring you out here to pass the ball. We want you to score." So that was one of the things that let me know, that a lot of teams are going to want me to score the ball and look to be more in attack mode. And another thing that I would have to say is just getting used to the physicality and stuff like that, because if you watch me play, I'm getting like guarded tough, or I'm getting guarded by some of the best defenders each and every night. So I think that was another thing that I had to get adjusted to.
I mean, in terms of the education and probably the duty of care process, I mean, this is your 6th season overseas now. What better, or what ways could a league like the BBL? I mean, we're always talking about how it's changing and how it's trying to upgrade. What way could players like yourself, who are coming, as you said, out of the country for the first time, have better support to just deal with the situation, deal with life, deal with the professional side of this, the business side of it, when you're essentially taken from home and you're pitched halfway across the world?
Oh, I mean, at the end of the day, you gotta. I don't think it's that bad of an adjustment because you're out here for a reason. You're in your career. You should just be motivated by that off that alone. This is what you making a living off of. This is what brings the food to the table. This is what's going to provide you for your family. So I think that's kind of how I look at it. And I'll obviously also I love the game of basketball. So if you love the game of basketball, you're willing to play anywhere or play in any circumstances or whatever the circumstances is, really.
Well, has that enthusiasm for the sport been there since the first time you picked up a ball, or where did it come from?
Yeah, I mean, I've had the love for basketball for sure since the first time I picked it up. I've been playing since I was 5 years old. Organized basketball. My mom always had me playing guys older than me and stuff like that. So I felt like I I had matured my game a lot quicker and adjusted to stuff a lot earlier growing up.
What was the, I don't know, the ultimate basketball experience for you? I mean, because obviously at college you get to play against future stars and future NBA stars, but when you look back at before you got to the pros and before you sort of make a success of things in Sheffield, what's the game and the memories that you have that really you'll be still talking about in a rocking chair on your porch when you're 85?
I have a couple. So I got another crazy dunk in college as well. That made SportsCenter, made ESPN top 10. I think that was a big moment. And also the moment that I played against Kansas, which is my dream school, and I actually had a really good game against them. I think I scored like 15 or 17 points. I mean, we lost by a lot, but I had a stretch where I brought us, like me and one other player brought us into within single digits to the point where we felt like we had a chance to where we thought we could, give them a run for their money. But it was my dream school, so I was just excited to play in front of Kansas. And it was in Kansas, and you're playing in front of their fans, playing in front of thousands of people. I think the Sprint Center holds like 10 to 15K, so you're playing in front of like 15,000 people. I thought that was pretty cool.
You mentioned a SportsCenter dunk, but you had one of those in Sheffield as well.
Yeah, I did.
Tell me about that. I mean, how does that blow up? Describe that sort of 24, 48 hours, because it was against Surrey.
Yeah, it was against Surrey. I think that the tensions were high. It was a super competitive game. It was in overtime. There was a lot of trash talking going on and stuff like that. So it's just one of those it was in my mind that I knew that if I had an open lane, I was just gonna go up and dunk, and that's pretty much what happened. What a lot of people don't talk about though is right after that dunk, I got a block to seal the game. Nobody ever shows that clip, but I thought that was pretty big time to be able to do a dunk like that and stay composed enough to go down and get on defense and get a block as well. But yeah, I wake up the next morning and I have my phone just blowing up. I got my friends telling me that I was all on SportsCenter and ESPN, and I'm waking up and seeing it all on House of Highlights and stuff like that. I thought it was just super cool, to see that something that I did, especially all the way out here in the UK, and it gets noticed in the States. I thought that was pretty big time.
And 2 million hits on YouTube.
Yeah, that's
like mind blowing.
Yeah, it was cool. That was definitely a cool experience for me personally.
Is it nice to get? I mean, especially over here, where you're kind of separated from home in a way. It's not. I mean, that's the mission at the minute. But that suddenly your buddies are like, "Woo, you're big time."
Yeah, I think obviously, when you do stuff like that, it gives you a boost of confidence in your mind. Obviously, for me, I like to be humble, so I try not to let it boost my confidence too much. But obviously, stuff like that, if it gives you a rhythm, and when I dunk something like that, 9 times out of 10, a lot of people aren't going to want to jump because they think it's going to happen. So I think after that dunk, I started to get a lot more stuff easier at the rim.
Mm-hmm. You had the 2 years at Sheffield, and then you decided to go overseas to Hungary, and right in the middle of Hungary, and you said, it's Google Translate, it's a different world. Was that a tough year or an interesting year?
I would say it was a mixture of both. I mean, obviously, I had to get used to being in a different country where they don't speak English and stuff like that. But playing wise, I thought it was great. I had a great season statistically. I impacted that team, I thought, pretty well. I thought the fan support was very nice there. People in Europe, like they're super passionate about basketball. So I did enjoy that as well.
Because was that the year when your son was born?
Yeah, it was. It was right before not too long after he was born.
And so did he and your wife come with you to Hungary, or were they overseas?
Yeah, she was a bit back and forth. Like she'd come there, stay for a few weeks, and then she'd go home for a few months and then come. But then that was the year that COVID hit as well.
I mean, you're so close, and you're such an engaged father. I mean, how do you sort of deal with that separation at that point in time, and in such as you said, an unusual global circumstance.
Yeah, I mean it did drive me like it. Yeah, I had some emotional moments, because obviously there were nights, where I'm there alone and not really having much to do, where I felt like I would love to be around my family and stuff like that. But obviously, I had to look at the bigger picture and know that I was there to support my family and stuff like that. So obviously that was the type of stuff that kept me going and kept me motivated while I was there.
Do you transfer that now when you're playing? Both when you're in London, probably less so, but now in Manchester. You've got rookies and you got guys who are overseas. Can you recognise now that kind of, I don't know, the psychological torment, if you want to put it at the top level, but homesickness, or people being separated in a way that allows you to, put a hand on someone's shoulders or an arm around their shoulder or whatever, and understanding the difficulty, the downside to this game that that you have to sacrifice.
Yeah. I've actually had it this year with Taj Green. He's had some moments in the season where I've had to give him some advice about being away from his family and stuff like that, because obviously he's just come over here for his first year. It does get around that stretch, around Christmas or Thanksgiving or something like that, where it's family oriented holidays, where it makes you want to be around your family and stuff. So I definitely understand how it was, and I was definitely that guy that could give some good advice. And I think it's cool now because I'm 6 years in, and I was that guy. It felt like yesterday I was that guy, coming in and feeling that type of way, and now I'm the one that's kind of giving some guys advice and stuff when they first coming over.
You're 2 years in London, and an interesting 2 years to be on the inside of something. We see London last weekend winning, BBL Cup, surprisingly the first trophy under the the new ownership, and you got an inside track in that in terms of the buyout and the transformation and the investment and the build. What's it like to be part of something that's revolutionary, different, changing things?
Yeah, obviously I thought it was cool, and I was happy to actually have the opportunity. I think it was good that, especially the year before, we got some success in Europe. We won some games, advanced in the first round of the Europe Cup. So, I thought my time and my experience in London was good. I definitely enjoyed myself while I was there.
What did you feel, as players? You can sort of see the wind of change coming, and obviously, midway through last season, when Vince, departs, and that's a kind of signal, I think, towards the makeover of the franchise. But did you sort of do you feel like it sort of was coming overnight, or every week did you sort of say, oh, well, this is being added, or we're doing this, or this has been added to the mix, or what did it feel like for you as a part of this?
Yeah, obviously, especially last year, there was a lot of stuff going on, as far as Vince being fired mid-season and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, I have to, my mindset, I have to be a professional. So I just tried to stay the course and do what I could to try and help bring some success to the team, and just make sure I felt good for myself personally, after it as well.
How do you deal with that as a player and process? Because I remember, and I think I was one of the people that broke the news, and it was a couple of hours probably even after it happened. And Vince is such a big character, in basketball, everyone knows Vince. And you guys, I think I got told at practice, if I remember, one morning. What's the sort of process like? Because you say it's a business, but also this is a people business, and you grow close to people, or you talk to people. How as players do you process news like that?
Like I said, you just got to be able to be professional and just move on about it. This wasn't my first time, dealing with a coach change mid-season. I had it happen when I was in Hungary, so it's just something that you just have to adjust to, and just keep moving forward. Obviously, I kept moving forward, and I'm here with Vince today. So, yeah, just about being a professional at the end of the day.
How do you view the potential for London? As someone who's played there and you've seen the baby steps and seen more steps this year, do you sense, having spoken to the fans and seen the growth there, that this can be transformational? I mean, this could be something that's bigger and better than we've ever seen before in this country.
Yeah, for sure. I think it can be transformational, for sure. I think eventually a lot of the other teams in the league are, they're going to want to try and match what the Lions are doing down there. Eventually I think it will happen. I think 777 is trying to invest in the league as best as they can, and I think with them being a part of the mix, I think it will help out a lot.
Saying that, you find yourself a free agent last summer, and then the phone goes and it's Vince. How long did it have to take you to consider the offer to reunite yourself with him up in Manchester?
It didn't take too long. It took a few days. Obviously, I had my spurts where I was going to go to Europe. I mean, I was super close to going to a couple countries like Italy, and the Netherlands as well, and I had another country, France. So I just, But once he called, I think it was just a good opportunity for me, because I'm in a position too where I can get my British passport. I just have to be out here a little bit more consistently.
And is that sort of important in terms of maybe the doors that would unlock for the long-term future or for basketball future?
Yeah, it's for long term, for sure. And then obviously, I think it'll help with basketball as well. If I could be counted as British, maybe it'll help out a team.
Mm-hmm. And would that mean that you've embraced our customs, like tea that's warm, and Yorkshire puddings? I mean, do you feel like this is you've really got your feet under the table now of our culture?
Yeah, I've eaten all that. I make my morning cup of teas every morning. Put the milk in there. Yeah, I have my toast with it too. So yeah, I'm pretty sure I could say I'm pretty British for the most part.
If you're embracing it with warm tea and milk, you've definitely lost your Southern American preference.
Yeah.
You've had so many opportunities through basketball, and we talk about the power of basketball a lot in terms of the opportunities, the doors that it opens, and even in this country, the difference that those community clubs makes, or grassroots basketball makes, and then the transformational power perhaps at the higher level. I mean, for you, what do you think is unique about this sport, that it connects people in different ways?
I mean, obviously, with basketball, it teaches you how to be a team. It brings a brotherhood amongst yourself. You also you constantly meet new guys. You get to meet a good, like even this year, I got a good group of guys that I met. Sometimes these relationships take you a long way. With guys. Sometimes it goes further than just off the court. Like even my teammate last year, Lorenzo Cugini, I'm cool with him. I meet guys like that. He's invited me to his wedding this summer. I think so obviously you get to meet a lot. You get to meet a lot of people, and also the basketball community is very small. Like there's been plenty of times where I've played with somebody that I knew, down the line or something like that as well.
Do you have to like your teammates?
Do you have to like them?
Yeah.
I would say, yeah. I mean, because at the end of the day, y'all going to be on the court playing and fighting for each other every day. So I think it'll be difficult if you're trying to play with somebody that you don't like.
Gotta admit it. Has there ever been someone that you really disliked that you had to play with?
Yeah, I try not to be like that. Obviously, there's. I mean, how I look at the game is, stuff happens in basketball. There's bad shots, there's turnovers and stuff like that. So at the end of the day, you just got to keep playing. So that's kind of just how I see it.
How do you keep trying to improve your game? Because you're still playing so well. You're still playing at a high level. You're still getting highlight reels, and you're 18 points a game this year, which is your best tally since your second season in Sheffield. I mean, what for you is the little things that you look for in a season, season number 6, to go, right, I'm going to be better than I was in season 5?
Yeah, I mean, for me, usually like to just go over some film and stuff in the summer and I got a trainer that I have in Sheffield, strength and conditioning guy that I have in Sheffield as well. And, I look over film and stuff, and I just look at the stuff that I want to get better at. I just go and work on it during the summer. I feel like for me, it's not just about just working on a million things. I think it's just me trying to perfect like one particular thing or two particular things at a time. I don't like to be that type of guy that goes in and just works on a million moves and stuff like that.
Is there still another move? I mean, you talked obviously about trying to get the passport, and you clearly like this country, but is there another big move in you into? I mean, you mentioned France, mentioned Italy, which for now are better leagues than here. I mean, do you want to have that one shot at a place that we would consider top level?
Yeah, of course. Eventually, I would want to do it. Yeah, I'm just trying to, figure out certain stuff here first before I just up and try and leave the country. But yeah, most definitely, I do want to, try and see see how good of a player I can be, in some of those top levels. Like even I felt like when I was in Hungary, which a couple guys have told me the same, they felt like I should have just kept going up from there. Because I had a really good season there. I shot like 48% from three. I was averaging like 18 points per game. So I was doing pretty well out there. I was very impactful.
What's after basketball? I mean, you're still quite young, spring chicken, but you're 28 now, so you're bang in the middle of a professional career. But do you start to think about what you want to do after basketball?
Yeah, I mean, I've kind of been in, I want to eventually get into the coaching and stuff like that. Hopefully, even if it's all said and done, I have my passport here. Maybe I can be one of those type of guys that can impact kids out here, and try and build a little foundation, for kids as far as having basketball clinics and stuff like that, or even just being a basketball coach.
Do you test yourself out a little bit now, even if it's just going down and helping out at your son's sessions and just getting the feel for this?
Yeah, I'm always there. I'm always helping when I'm there with Nick. I've even already told Nick that this summer that I can help him as well. So yeah, I love being around the game of basketball, and I would love to teach the younger generation, especially being able to impact here in the UK, because basketball is on the come up. And I think a lot of kids nowadays are loving the sport. So I think it'll be cool to be able to impact some of the future.
Let's talk about Giants in this year before we let you go. 10-9 starting the league. Yeah, it's been up and down a bit. Williams been out. Obviously, he's back now. It seems to be a bit more settled. I mean, everyone seems like they're playing for second at this point. You're probably with 9 losses. It probably is the case. But yeah, what goals do you guys set now going into the second half of the season?
Yeah, we just right now we just want to try and just set the bar and set the foundation. Try and get us a run going. Even today, me and Ramon Fletcher, we hosted a players meeting. We got the guys together just to see how everybody was feeling mentally, physically, and stuff like that. So, and we kind of because we're the two guys that are super experienced, as far as with our team in the BBL. So, it was cool for us to just let the guys know how important this stretch is, and how fun it would be to get a chance to be in the playoff final. So I think we just want to, at this point, try and string up as many wins as we can to put us in the best position possible, to have an opportunity to get to the playoff final.
What sparks a players meeting this stage of the year, and this may be different from just sitting around chatting after practice?
Obviously, it's the second half of the season. It's getting to that business end of the season, the nitty gritty part of the season. A lot of teams are making those last and final changes. A lot of teams are getting better. A lot of teams are staying the same. So, we just wanted to make sure, that we got our guys together, and we want to make sure that we as a group know that we have a talented group and that we can get better, and that we can be a good team and a scary team, and we could be a scary team in the playoffs as well.
I gotta ask, a players only meeting, is the agreement that Vince doesn't find out what was said?
Yeah, I mean, no, because I don't. Obviously, we're a team. but it's just one of those things. You just want to see how the players are, and obviously me and Fletcher are kind of looked at as the captain. So if we see how the players are, and if they don't like anything and stuff like that, it's just a professional way to be able to just present it to Vince, and just let him know how the team feels and stuff like that.
And then he's not outside the door, with a glass up against it or anything like that. Not that you know of. Anyway.
He's cool. He knows we have a good group of guys. This team that we have this year, it's no egos and stuff like that. So I think everybody's comfortable to speak up to each other, get on to each other when things aren't going well. Everybody's not afraid to express themselves. I think Vince has done well with that too. Letting us have the floor to speak or whenever anybody's feeling a certain way about anything on the court.
And now, second half of the season, time to make the run. It's playoff, towards the playoffs.
Sure.
We wish you well with that. If you want to follow Dirk on Instagram, you can get him at Dirk Williams _11. He posts some nice photos on that. It's good. It's good stuff. It's worth a follow. Dirk, always great to talk to you. Continued success. Good luck, with everything, and keep enjoying Daddy coaching.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me on the show, and I wish you nothing but the best, moving forward with your show. I think you're doing a great job.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. That is it for this edition of the MVP Cast. And you can get all the previous editions via the MVP website at mvp247.com or via your preferred podcast provider, or you can ask one of your smart devices to play the MVP Cast. If you want to get in touch with me, you can get me on Twitter at Mark Brittle. Always great to hear from you and your thoughts on the show, or who you might like to have as a guest in the future. We will have another edition of the MVP Cast coming very soon. But for me, Mark Woods, appreciate you listening, and it's goodbye.